Hey everyone, it's Joya with the Speak Up series, our series of podcasts highlighting members of the Lady Drinks group, talking about what they're involved in right now and what they need. I'll tell you who I'm with right now. It's Kavita Mehra, who is the Vice President of Glamour Gals Foundation. And we met about a summer ago at another women's networking event. And that's when I first learned about what you do. But tell everybody else what it is that you do.
Glamour Gals works with teens who go once a month into senior facilities and provide makeovers and manicures to elderly women and men living in senior homes. I don't know if you remember the last time you were in a senior home. When I drive up to a senior home, the parking lot is empty. And then I walk through these double set of doors and I notice a row of residents just sitting there and waiting for someone to come speak to them.
What has been some of the most wonderful responses you've gotten from the girls coming to visit them?
I was at a senior home a few weeks ago and Shannon was there and she turned around and she said to me, "I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming. This is what I look forward to." Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with seniors where I say to them, "What are you doing this weekend?" "Nothing much. I'm going to be alone." I mean, to face that towards the end of your life is just heartbreaking.
But you're also building self-esteem, and not for the residents only. It's for the girls too.
So we focus on our volunteers in a few different ways. The first is we host events for them, and you did attend one of them. That was our Glamour Gals Leadership Training Institute, which we hold every fall. In the spring, we have our Glammy Scholarship Awards, where we say, all those skills that you learned in the fall, take them, implement them throughout the year, and let's recognize you in the spring at our award ceremony. So we're having that event on May 4th at NASDAQ, and we're honoring not only our volunteers, but also the New York Yankees. We provide recommendation letters to college for any volunteer that completes 20 hours or more of community service throughout.
And do you find that sometimes these girls don't necessarily get these empowering messages in their own homes, so you're filling a void?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they might not necessarily receive it at home, and that's where we come in. We are their constant cheerleader.
Who started Glamour Gals?
13 years ago, Rachel Doyle started Glamour Gals. She was attending Comac High School. One day, she went to a local senior facility, and not only did she walk into a room full of residents waiting to get makeovers and manicures, but the New York Times was there. So the New York Times covered her first makeover. Fast forward a few months later, she was featured on the Oprah Winfrey Show. We now work with 1,600 volunteers in 14 states, 85 chapters.
And how many senior citizens would you say that whose lives you have touched in any way?
Reach approximately 2,000 seniors a year.
That's a lot of lives that wouldn't be touched otherwise. You have a very long history of nonprofit. I believe this is your 8th nonprofit that you are working at. Tell me about some of the others.
My first internship was actually with Seki. After undergrad, I went straight into graduate school. I was working at New York Asian Women's Center in the shelter from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I would then go from the shelter straight to class at Columbia. And then after working at New York Asian Women's Center, I worked with the Taxi Workers Alliance, an incredible opportunity. And then I moved more into a development capacity. So I moved to Easter Seals, New York, and I was working in PR and marketing. From there, I moved on to SIA and then Asian Women in Business, both working more in the development capacity.
Nonprofits can be run well, or they can be run not well. And I think that probably your loyalty also lies in the fact that this is a very well-run organization.
We run it like a business. How are we going to make our bottom line so we can continue the program? How are we going to look for streams of funding? How are we going to continue building exposure? What partnerships are smart? And being really respectful of those that we work with and their time and their energy. And I think that's why we've been able to also scale up so quickly in the last few years.
Let's talk about the South Asian space. Do you feel that you have a lot of other South Asian women that you can turn to when you hit a glitch or you hit any kind of obstacle in dealing with your day-to-day work?
That's interesting. I often walk into a room and I'm the only person of color. I forget being the only South Asian. I'm the only person of color in the room. I think the industry is growing. I don't think that the network is necessarily there where I would be able to approach someone and say, what should I do in this situation? I haven't experienced that yet, and I hope that will change.
I think your idol has always been your mother, who was a successful businesswoman in her own right.
Oh, absolutely. She is the person I go to with any question. She didn't get the opportunity to go to college, but for 27 years she ran her own business and she ran it well. And not only did she run a strong business, but she empowered her staff. People respected her. Clients also respected her. And I just admire the level of patience she had and dedication.
What are some of the things that she did to empower employees and curry that respect?
She would always ask her employees questions. It wasn't necessarily direct work. It was, what do you think about this? what do you think about this display, or how we should approach this problem? And she would always be very respectful also of their personal lives.
Why is that important to be having this conversation about a women's networking group now as opposed to any time in history?
I think that there is an upswing of women who are entrepreneurs. I love it. Earlier today, I was sharing with you that I was having a conversation with someone who's starting an online magazine. And the first thing I mentioned to her was, have to come to Lady Drinks. There are a phenomenal group of women who are just like you, who are starting out, or who have started out and have built a successful business, and you need to connect with them. Because although we might be doing very different things, we might also be facing the same challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And so to share that platform is incredible. It's a space to have dialogue, and that this is just an incredible moment for us as we continue to grow as a community and have purchasing power and have power within the economy and sort of the social spaces.
I want to bring it back to Glamour Gals as we, come into the final stretch here. What is happening next? Or in your grand vision, what would you like to see happen next?
10, 20, 30 years down the line, I would love to see Glamour Gals be as large as the Girl Scouts. Or short term, I think we will be hitting over 100 chapters this year.
Are you trying to also maybe bring in some more members, volunteers that are of the Indian persuasion?
One of our largest chapters is in Queens. It's Thomas Edison High School. I would say 75% of the girls are South Asian, which I was totally shocked. And when I first met them, I was like, you're a little version of me.
And what does that mean to you?
I think it really does demonstrate how we're breaking a lot of class and racial barriers as an organization.
You have another event coming up in June.
We're hosting Glamour in the City, and that's on June 6th. That's a party for a good cause, 2-hour sponsored bar, fun club, amazing DJ, just a really great night and a great way to support Glamour Gals.
It's a fundraiser.
And tickets are only $29 right now.
Which is palatable for most people that are watching their wallets.
Exactly.
That's Kavita Mehra, who is Vice President of Glamour Gals Foundation, bridging the gap between senior citizens and teenage girls and building a little bit of self-esteem along the way. Kavita, thank you for being with me today.
Thank you so much.